Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Bite Size podcast. I'm your host, Clayton, and today you are on what was meant to be a normal match preview. Arsenal versus Leeds, going through predicted lineup, score predictions, all of that good stuff, which we do every week, but it has not been a usual week for the Arsenal. On Tuesday, we were starting with, starting with a roller coaster of Leandro Trossard has got a contract extension. It's not extra years added. It's just a pay rise. That sent the fan base into meltdown, myself included. The following morning, it comes out about Kai Havertz and his injury. There's talks of an ACL there. There's talks of how long he's going to be out. And then again, I may be getting my days confused here, but within the same day, it comes out that Eberechi Eze and Arsenal have been in contact, and the whirlwind rumor mill went mad. It was carnage, and as of now, I don't want to jinx it, but it looks like Eberechi Eze is coming home to the Arsenal. Uncle Mike, how are you feeling?
Good afternoon, mate. Good afternoon, everyone. It's like a Craig David song, isn't it? It's like on Sunday we won the 3 points at Old Trafford. By Tuesday we're giving Trossard a pay rise. Havertz injury on the Wednesday, and we signed Eze by the Thursday. 6 points by Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's been one hell of a week, and just shows you all the emotions of a fan base as reactive or reactionary as ours. It's been some hell of a lot of going on. So let's get into it.
How do you actually feel about Eze? Like, is it?
If we want to start on Eze, I mean, let's start off with the positives. We had a good review on Monday. We went through a lot of what if we did have any concerns or any of that stuff. So we kind of put that to bed, and then obviously Tuesday there's a Trossard news. But if we could talk about Eze, it's a lot of people are saying it's like the 2025 version of Sol Campbell, and
run it back to 2001.
Yeah, and what it would be like if we actually had the internet or Twitter back then. It was a beautiful night. I tell you what, I was watching a police drama, 2-hour police drama with the missus, and it's quite, one of these twists and turns and all that. So I've put 1 hour and 45 minutes into this graft of watching this thing. And then with 15 minutes to go, my mate Martin messaged on WhatsApp and he's done the Orn bomb. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I've looked at this and I'm like, suddenly I'm not thinking about the last 15 minutes of this police drama and the twists and turns and that. I'm just cannot believe that that's happened. And then you're like, is this true? And then you're looking through timelines live in a moment, and it was just snowballing of suddenly this journo saying it, and then that accredited journo saying it, and
so quickly,
and then you've got then it's Spurs journalists are saying it, and then it's it can't be true unless this guy says it. So then you're seeing the reaction from the Spurs fans live, and that was delicious. So yeah, I think as a fan base, it's the one thing that's united us this week, or certainly since I'd actually say since the end of the season. I think there's been constant discourse in the background over all sorts of subjects. What order of signing has come in? This if it'd be interesting if we'd signed Eze on July the 1st.
Yeah, with the
banned in the 68 mil release clause that Palace wanted, and we were signing Madueke today away from Tottenham. I wonder what reaction that might have. I don't think it's but you know what I mean. I think there's some people that just that too much on the order of signings. But
the one thing that did surprise me, to be fair, was like I think he's obviously very, very good. I'm buzzing. Like, he's the kind of player I've wanted for a while at Arsenal, but I didn't realize how universally rated he is, to the point where I haven't seen any with these sort of signings. You always get rival fans trying to hate on it. I haven't really seen anyone. I think everyone's just universally like, do you know what, fair play. And there's that kind of element of respect for us now, in the sense of like, you see people looking at our squad, and I know there's the angle of some people pushing the, if they don't win anything, it's a failure stuff. But like, I think there is an acceptance from people of like, damn, they have got one of the best squads in the world now. And I can't remember an Arsenal squad being as complete as this ever. Like this is unbelievable, to the point where even Madueke, I'm quite excited by him now as a prospect, because I spoke about him. It depended on his order and role within the squad for me to
and what role and what minutes and as an option. It's just options. That's what I love. People, you can go into there'll be a lot of people, and you have rivals, and even fans of our own say, well, where does he fit? Who's going to lose minutes? I do not give a shit. He is a very, very, very good player who is now an Arsenal player, and we will find a place for him.
Yeah,
against an opposition or a certain game state or whatever. I don't care. I want that problem. I don't want to be playing Kieran Tierney as a left wing against PSG.
That's it. I remember last year looking at games where Liverpool were not on the ropes, but needed something, and they turned to their bench, and it was just like lots of attacking options. City, every single year, you're looking at Foden on the bench, Savinho, Grealish, Bernardo, like De Bruyne sometimes. I've wanted that at Arsenal, especially if we're going to compete at the top level on all fronts. And I think this just solidifies it for me. Like, barring an absolute injury crisis, we've got it all to be able to cope with everything now. And even in an injury crisis, I still think we've got so much versatility in this squad now. It's so exciting. And I think just him as a player, what he brings, what he means, what he represents, he just feels so Arsenal coded. Like, I can see him out on the left doing his thing. I can see him drifting inside, combining with whoever's left back, holding the width for him to come inside. I can see him driving centrally through the park. I can see him taking shots. Like, we speak so much about, especially in the Champions League, individual brilliance. We speak about low blocks. Who's got that moment of brilliance to drop a shoulder, shift it, twat it, top bins? Like, we've got that. We finally brought that to the Arsenal, and I'm over the moon. I am absolutely over the moon with it. Do you think he'll get... Oh, go on.
No, so I was just going to say, you can add, talking of the shots, I saw something there was, so Madueke, Gyökeres and Eze combined took 356 shots between them in all comps.
Yeah.
That's obviously much more than any of our players, and much more event. So we need to add, this is the sort of thing that we needed to add to the squad. Is the person that won't care about, they will take a shot, whether it goes in row Z or hits the post or whatever. There's going to be plenty of those, and as a fan base, we've got to accept that. There will be times when Madueke hits it into the North Bank, and you're like, oh, come on, mate, and so we've got to be patient. But it's exciting stuff to know that you have finally got options, and then this does put pressure on Arteta. We can't get away from that. As much as we think he's doing a fantastic job, he's now got tools, and he's got. I think it's probably we always want one more. We've always, as a club, felt one more, two more. But I think that's running quite thin. Yes, we could still do. We still need to upgrade that left-hand side. That screaming out to be upgraded, and that's why
I think Eze's going to play there.
Yes, but I mean that's why I still think it's probably the most stacked squad that I can remember that in coverage and not drop off in quality. It's you can actually see that they will all be trying to rip the shirt off of the other one rather than okay, you're going from a Saliba to a Holding, you're going from, Jenkinson and all that kind of stuff. So it's really exciting stuff.
Just shout out a couple of the guys in the chat. We've got long-term listener Pontus Johansson in. Hello, lads. Hello, mate.
Right,
I've not seen or heard from you in a long time. Hope you're doing well. We've got Greg in. He's saying he's hoping that it all comes out that the Eze paperwork was completed before 12 p.m. because he wants him for FPL versus Leeds. Well, there hasn't been anything official yet. And on that note, obviously, we've got a couple of people in. There's quite a lot of you watching live. Make yourselves known. Say hello in the chat. Drop the stream a like. Help us on the road to 400 subs. Or I should do it like Michael Elise, where I just say, I'm here free of will. Subscribe to the channel. There's lots of great content. Do it like that. But yeah, make yourself known. Let us know in the comments, in the chat, if you've got any questions, how you're feeling about Eze. And also, when it comes to the lineup, what are you thinking for this weekend? Do you think there'll be any changes to any of the starting 11 from midweek? One thing, go on. I feel like there was something at the tip of your tongue.
I was just going to say, I think Simon Collins, who friend of the show, has confirmed that if Eze does sign in time, it won't be involved for the Leeds game.
Okay, I missed that.
I think that has been confirmed, which is a shame. But Arteta was never ever going to drop him in tomorrow. It would be so un-Arteta like.
But I'll tell you what would be the most Arsenal thing, to announce him in the stadium. Lots of Eze turn shirt sales at the Armory.
Oh, I think that will happen.
I
think he will. Yeah, I think he will be signed by that, and hopefully they're just on the phone to Sol Campbell right now, and an Uber driver, and we drive past the shop.
Manu Petit getting in the cab.
Manu Petit at the other end, and then he walk up the steps, and then you've got Ian Wright standing there, and they take him in and welcome the boy home. So I hope they've got a creative announcement video, because all the ones this season, I think we've all been waiting for a banger like the Declan Rice video a couple of years ago.
They've been a bit
and they've been pretty poor, because I get it. They're, I think a lot of them are using like authentic Arsenal fans as artists. And the theme is like the tempo and all of this stuff, and it'd be very 30-second long. I want a
story heavy.
Mate, I want a 6-part Netflix series on just on this signing alone. So
there's so much potential, but that's what I feel like there was with the Gyökeres one as well. But we are going to be able to wax lyrical about him, what it means for knock-on impacts in terms of Gyökeres and stuff. But yeah, I wanted to know if you thought he would be announced and unveiled tomorrow.
I think he'll be on the pitch. And that will. How many times? When was the last time you can remember an Arsenal signing be announced on the pitch?
I can't remember.
And certainly for the first home game of the season.
Is there any that comes to mind for you? Because I genuinely can't remember.
No. So
it's not really something we do, is it?
No. So what a marketing opportunity. We don't, Adidas, buy some shares in Adidas again, because there'll be plenty of merch coming out again.
Yeah.
So that will be some busy day at the Armory tomorrow. So Eze 10, beautiful. But as far as the lineups, the thing that concerned me was, or I noticed, was the load of timber, and we're managing his minutes. So does that mean
should we cover the team news? So in terms of highlights from Arteta's presser, Norgard looks like he's going to miss out again. On Ben White, he just said we have to see. That was inferred because Ben White didn't take part in the open training at the Emirates on Wednesday.
And also, to remember, I said he came off clutching his hamstring in the last game.
He did say that, actually. Yeah, good catch. On Timber, like you just said, he said we need to manage his load. That's why we took him out of the main session at open training. We'll get into predicted lineups. One note on, obviously, Kai Havertz. We did start the kind of Eze segue there. Like, I don't know about. I'm gutted for the guy. I think he's clearly, everyone's spoken about how he's put on muscle, he's put on strength. I said I thought the manager got the selection wrong, and Old Trafford was a Havertz game. I think Anfield is a Havertz game.
Yeah.
I just think him and Gyökeres as a pair gives us so much to maximize what we want from that central area. And I'm gutted for him. I think he was going to be in for a big campaign. Hopefully he's not out too long. But just any words from you on Havertz?
Yeah, I'm a big Havertz fan, and I just think he's such a fantastic addition to this football club. And it's so disappointing that we were not going to get to see the dovetailing of 60 here, 30 there, game states, what we can do, certain games that you can. That, as you say, Havertz games, because he's such an integral part of an Arteta way of playing, or or the Arteta blueprint. So it's so frustrating that he's come back from that. Did you see it? It looked like a Ugarte tackle.
Yeah,
I think it wasn't
as well.
Yeah, it wasn't because he usually, he had the knock in pre-season, didn't he? And then he sort of had that innocuous sort of challenge, but it wasn't too bad that he still sort of run it off. I've heard 8 to 10 weeks, which will be
Okay.
something. Yeah, 8 to 10 weeks. It's not definitely not ACL.
Well, that's all I wanted to hear, just not ACL,
Yeah,
to be honest.
definitely not ACL. Well, the club again, Arteta. I think it wasn't quite said on the press conference. I missed it on the press conference because I was trying to search for it on YouTube. But he mentioned on Havertz that they still don't know. It's still not quite clear. Still think there's like swelling. So there, you could possibly do 2 weeks of. I think one of the options is 2 weeks of physio and injections because it's loose. It sounds like it could be loose cartilage.
Yeah.
Which, as someone that suffers from knees, that's probably the best.
That's why he didn't make it, isn't it?
Yeah, man. So, so that's why if it's that's kind of like good news. What we don't want is ACLs or full ligament damages. So, but I think there might be a case of we may know better in 2 weeks. You know what happen, and we've seen it before. Suddenly it'll just come out the blue, won't it, on a random Monday morning after a really good win.
Yeah.
It'll be we've got after further scans, Havertz is out for 6 months rather than 8 weeks because we've been there before. I hope it's not, but we know what happens. So yeah, that was very disappointing for him. But it just means that in a way,
gets the big man up and running.
Absolutely, and now it's right, mate. You've got to do it. We have to learn him, and he has to learn us.
Yeah,
and it's got to be done quick.
Well, and I don't think there's a better fixture for that than Leeds at home, to be honest. Yeah. So, we'll get into the predicted lineups. I don't know about you. I didn't actually watch Leeds against Everton midweek.
I watched it. They looked okay. There was a couple of. I'm just watching it for FPL purposes, really. So they looked okay, but. Were Everton really bad? Yeah, Everton were really bad. So, Leeds are a team that we've historically means absolutely fuck all, but we always have a nice day out against them. Apart from Mark Paducah when he ruined our title back in I think 2099 or something back then. So yeah, but again, a team that comes up from the Championship, you can't write them off on their first
away day. Yeah,
they're all up. They're all up for it. Bang up for it. Is Fark just a Poundland Ange? Where he just sticks to his system and he refuses to adapt? That will be time will tell. I actually predict Fark will be replaced by Ange in about October, November. That's my.
If they get Ange, that's a one-way ticket back to the Championship.
So that's they're very attacking, but can they? That's what we want, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come and attack us, boys.
Is that how they play then? I can't confess to watch them or know too much about them.
Apparently they're I'm no Andy Martin on the subject, but they're not going to sit back. I don't think.
I think they will. Sure, like if they come and play us, mate, they'll slap 5. Like they'll surely not. I mean, I hope they come and play us. Surely they'll just park it though. It's worth saying they
is Fark going to park? That's the question, mate.
Ampadu,
he's out. That's a big mess.
He's out.
Yeah,
that's a big mess.
But they've got lively.
He held the anchor role quite well on Monday.
They've got lively, nippy players. They're dangerous. They can score. But mate, you're coming up against Big Bill and Gabby at the back. Fuck off. You've got to get past those two.
Like you're looking kind of wide areas. Obviously, Dan James. He's someone I've always found him quite annoying, but he's rapid, right? There's
that's where the fullback
situation.
That's where the fullback situation on the right hand side might be a concern with no White, or possibly no White, and managing Timber's minutes. That could be.
So I'll read what the Leeds lineup was against Everton, and then we'll go into what we think the Arsenal team will be. So the goalkeepers, Perry. The back 4 from Monday was Bogle, Roden, Struijk, Goodmanson. Like we said, it was anchored by Ampadu, but he's no longer available. The 4 in front of him was James, Tanaka, Stack. Not sure.
Yeah,
how
he
you
played
pronounce
well. He
it.
played well.
Nonto, and then Perot up top. So that's the Leeds team. In terms of the Arsenal, I think dilemma's always going to be fullback. And I'd like to throw one out there. I have a hunch Madueke will start left wing in this game.
I do.
You do as
I
well?
do. Yeah, I do. Because
And
I think you just might. I just think there's a little bit too much noise, negative noise around Martinelli at the moment. Not that the fans in the stadium will turn against him, because I don't think that happens. But it could be a very good day to start Madueke.
I think
Why
so.
not?
We talk a lot about the starters finishers thing. I think the perfect role in the squad for Martinelli, if he's still here by the end of the window, I've got a question about that, which we'll cover at the end. I think he's a finisher in these sort of games. I think I'd like him as a starter. Now that Eze's here, it's a different question. But like prior to Eze, I was thinking Liverpool, that's a Martinelli game. Like Champions League games where there's space, Martinelli. We've got Footy Corner TV in the chat. He thinks Martinelli will start. The reason I think Madueke off the left is I think Leeds will look to park it and hit us on the break. And I think Calafiori, I've seen a lot of people say it will always be Miles Lewis-Skelly, Madueke as a pair, and Calafiori with Martinelli. And I don't agree. I think as a pair it makes sense, but I don't think it will always be the case. I understand the logic. Like Miles inverts, Madueke holds the width, Calafiori holds the width, Martinelli goes inside, or an Eze inside. I get that. But like Calafiori is also capable of doing both, of going inside and out. And I just think against these sort of teams like Leeds at home, you want that joker in the pack, which is a Calafiori. I think having a Madueke to hold the width opens the space for a Calafiori to almost go inside, and vice versa. Like I think there will be smaller spells in the game, but Madueke I think is also capable of going inside. So yeah, I've got a hunch that it will be Madueke off the left, and I think Calafiori is capable of playing with him. And I just think he's someone that you want in these games because he's so unpredictable and hard to track. What that then means for right back, I'm not sure. I think I need to decide on that. But then, yeah, I think most of the team I'm fine in my head. I think it'll be Raya, right back I'll come back to, but Saliba, Gabriel, I think Calafiori, Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Gyökeres, and I think it will be Madueke on the left. I'd go with Timber. I think with Ben White not training at all and Timber having his load managed, I think he'll probably look to have a Timber there that if you're gonna go for it and Calafiori on one side, I know this is irony because we did it at Old Trafford, but maybe it's paying way too much attention to Leeds. But if you're going to go for it and you're going to have a Calafiori there, maybe it is a case of you have a Timber in there that is a little bit more conservative than your Ben White, and he inverts kind of contributes in the final third, but more in the inside lanes rather than having Ben White flying up and down the touchline.
My only concern about that Madueke and Calafiori pairing, I mean, it is Leeds at home, but they have got lively, pacey wingers.
Defensively, it's suspect, isn't it?
That's what I'm concerned about now. But you should be able to. You should be able to be confident enough in that at Leeds at home. If you're ever going to play them, you should be able to play them there. But they are an unknown factor. You haven't played them. I would like to play that pairing with a little bit more of a sample size.
Yeah,
possibly having Trey, obviously, but it just frightens me that one ball over the top and they're both looking at each other. Whereas at least with Martinelli, you can rely on his graft. That's one thing that he will always do. So maybe it is a Skelly game to start off with.
I can see that now that you say that. Actually, I'll be honest. I didn't really think about the defensive side, and like I've got nightmares of. Well, Calafiori anytime. I love him going forward, but I don't want him 1v1. And just Madueke ball watching at Old Trafford.
Yeah, so fast start Arsenal. Let's Skelly and Madueke possibly, and then you're locking down. You really are locking down that side, and get hopefully you can get a couple of goals up, and then you can move things around if you really want to. But again, I still think you've got a. It looks at this moment we've got four fullbacks and three of them are managing minutes. with Calafiori, because he's so going to be such an important part of our team this year. But he has a little bit suspect with can he cope with the 3-4 games, consecutive games? We've not really seen that. So is it a case of also managing those minutes? I'm sure the medical team and Arteta is looking at blocks of games and says, right, those 4 games, that player's going to get that minutes, they're going to get that minutes. Game, opposition. Does it play into the Liverpool game or the lineup next? I know you shouldn't be looking ahead of yourself, but that's a huge game. If I want a fully fit Timber in that match and Ben White or whoever you're choosing to play in that game, is that a factor of who you're choosing this week as well? So maybe possibly. fast start FC. Hopefully get up and then see how it goes.
Yeah, I can definitely see your point there. I think I'm still going to stick with it though. I think if I had to submit my predicted 11, despite the defensive concerns, I think it's more of a we're just going to go for it. I think this is the perfect opportunity to bed in a Madueke. Maybe I'm overlooking the correct pairing. Probably is the Miles, but just so much belief and belief in what Calafiori will bring for us in these sorts of games. Because I don't think Calafiori is an Anfield player. If I had to nail my colours to the mast, even though I see your logic, I would go Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Gyökeres, Madueke. What about you? And then I'll read out some of the guys in the chat.
Yeah, similar to that. I mean, I think it just does Gabby then move across, a bit more responsibility on Gabby on that left-hand side. Then there's Declan drop. You don't really want him doing that though, or dropping deep. There's certain things you can be doing, but I'll go Miles, Lewis, Skelly, and Madueke. And
I can see that.
Yeah, and the same as the other side.
You think Timber right back as well? Yeah.
Fair
play. Yeah, I can see that. Let's see what some of the guys in the chat were saying. Oh, we've got Bobby in who said he's going to be at the game tomorrow. Bobby, I will drop you a message. Try and meet up, have a drink. We definitely need a drink because he said, "Afternoon, lads. What a birthday Wednesday was with the Eze bomber. Could not stop smiling." So happy birthday for Wednesday, Bobby.
Happy birthday, mate.
I didn't know, mate. We'll get you a birthday drink tomorrow. Pontus says he hasn't stopped smiling yet. What else have we got? We've got Marsh in the chat. He says, "Afternoon all. I'm intrigued what Marsh thinks the lineup will be because I'm sure for those of you that don't know, there's a lovely lady called Emma on Twitter at Jump the Wave. She collates loads of predicted lineups from people, and I'm sure I saw Marsh either won it or was in the top 3 for Arsenal last season. So Marsh, share your words of wisdom with us. What else have we got in the chat? On your comment about Arsenal Leeds, Greg says, it was Arsenal 2, Leeds 3 in 98-99. He remembers it well. Footy Corner said, Forest is getting Ange. I didn't see that. I did see some stuff about Nuno, actually. Greg corrected himself. The Leeds 3-2 was 2003.
Yeah. I thought it was a bit early, 99, but 203.
I've said already that Footy Corner thinks Martinelli will start. Pontus is in agreement. He said he can see it being Madueke, but believes Martinelli starts. Greg says Madueke more likely simply on the basis of being a new signing and bringing it back to the fullbacks. Footy Corner TV says if White isn't fit, then it's Timber, so needs Calafiori to overlap and support Gabby. Yeah, that can see that. Greg's got another question, which I will flag for later, but we've done our predicted 11s, score predictions. This is the fun bit now. So, ladies and gents, if you're watching live, make yourselves known. What is the score going to be tomorrow? It's a 5:30 kickoff. I can't wait. So this is actually going to be my final Arsenal game live in attendance before I go back out to America. So it is going to be a large one. I was under the impression it was a 12:30 for some reason up until last week. And then I actually checked. I was like, result. I don't know if that got moved. I don't know if it was always 5:30. I don't know if I was in America when I looked and it was maybe 12:30 on that calendar.
That's what happened. Yeah, it's always been 5:30.
Right. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to get on it.
That's a big day, mate. You'll be up there at 9 o'clock having your fry up.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But yeah, you mentioned fast start Arsenal. There was obviously that stat you mentioned on the review pod about like the progressing meters per second up the pitch and stuff, and it was like noticeably quicker. We saw against Bilbao, we attempted to move the ball quicker, sharper, faster, more direct in the early phases. There was less studs on the ball in the first phase. We were holding the width with the fullbacks, with Martinelli, Saka going inside. The performance at Man United, while it was direct, was very different. Do you think? How do you see this one going? And do you think our number 9, well, our number 14 is getting off the mark on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it'd be more the same. But Arteta referencing is, more training, more adapting, more learning, and it is it's the ideal game to go for it, isn't it? Why are you sitting back and doing the horseshoe of death at home? Okay, they are good. As you said, if they're going to sit in the block, but you've got to move them out of that block, haven't you? So that's why I think Madueke might start, because you can move the ball quicker, and you can't double up on Madueke and Saka and the big man up top. So I just hope that we can get a little bit more control. Get it with at the back. We don't want to turn it into a basketball match again. So it'll be interesting to see. I think that is he's not going to throw away his control values. I just think he wants to, it's all about that 1%, isn't it? It's about what can we do that little bit more, and by playing it, the whatever mad stat that was, the meters per second up the pitch or whatever it is, it's getting the ball up quicker, a bit more direct. And if you've got someone like that, why wouldn't you adapt up top? Why wouldn't you adapt to that? But it is going to take a little bit of time. But the player will make the run. And that's why I'm very jealous of whoever's going to the stadium tomorrow, because you're going to have a much better idea from watching Gyökeres up top tomorrow than we all had watching against Old Trafford, because you're in the stadium, you're going to see the runs, you're going to see where we could have released the ball earlier or whatever. So that's one we want to report back on that. So
go on. If you had to put money on it, what score are you going for?
3-0.
3-0 to the Arsenal. I've got the exact same as well. I agree. I think we'll still see the element of control, but I think there'll be a noticeable shift in how we move the ball in the final third. And I think Zubimendi will be key to that. And I think what you say, the runs Gyökeres makes will be different. And I'm a big believer in the runs your attackers make influence and inform the passes that arrive. And I think he will make so many runs that will force a pass. And I can see a brace for him. I can potentially see a hat-trick. Yeah. I think this is the perfect game for him. When I think of what we've got in Gyökeres and what we struggled with last season, these were the games I had in mind. Just a big brute of a centre-forward that was going to barge and bully us around the penalty area. That's why I wasn't so happy with him at Man United. Not happy with him, happy with the manager's selection. I don't want him running half marathons. I want him running the channels, sure, but when we have the ball, not as like a target man escape all the time. And I think this game where we're going to dominate the territory, be Phil Tilt world champions again, that's where I want him in and around the box. So I'm going 3-0 to the Arsenal. It looks like that's quite a popular score. I have to say, I do think there's a potential this could go 4 or 5 if we score early. And especially if we get 2 within the first half. But Pontus also thinks it will be 3-0. Footy Corner says he thinks it will be 2-0 actually. But yeah, Q are struggling. Q are struggling to break them down. Q Leeds giving us a few dodgy moments.
1-1 coming incoming.
Yeah, that's football, isn't it? It's like whenever we think it's going to be easy, it never is.
Greg, and it's not being disrespectful or arrogant to Leeds. It's just we've got enough firepower that on our day we could smack teams up if it clicks, and that could well click tomorrow. So
I really hope it does, because I think there's a narrative forming, and understandably so, around the low blocks, right? But I think the narrative that's annoying me is around our style of football. And that's the one I don't really buy into. I think the injuries forced us to look a certain way last year, and there were definitely things within our control we can improve. But I think we've shown numerous times that we're a fast, free-flowing team under Arteta. That I think is a narrative that has got lost, and I think this is the perfect opportunity. 5:30, it'll be on the telly. Let's show people what we're capable of. And I think, hopefully 3-0. Greg says Gabriel Brace and Saliba 3-0. We'll take that. I'm sure that's not influenced by fantasy football at all.
Oh, well, I've got Saka as a captain, so I want three. I want 3 assists from Saka.
I've got Bukayo as captain as well. I don't have Gabriel in my fantasy team actually.
No, neither do I. No.
Yeah. So for those on free hit, enjoy. Just go into the Q&A now. So if you've got any questions, whack them in the chat and we'll get them read out. There were a couple that I started earlier. So I think they were both from Greg, actually. So one was, it wasn't a question, it was a statement where he said, hopefully you can shift Martinelli to Saudi before the end of the month. Now, I'm going to turn it into a question because we joked about the Trossard new contract, right? But do you think that with Eze signing, Trossard getting a new contract, there's still, I know he's not fit and available right now, but a Jesus out there, there were heavy rumours about a Saudi 80 million deal for Martinelli. Do you think there is a chance he is leaving this window?
Okay. Well, let's answer this one because I think it could be linked into we haven't actually touched on the Trossard contract situation.
Go for it.
What happened there. So that was a strange one, and it's sort of come to light now is that it was based on we got Trossard on quite a low wage, I believe, when he joined. And at the start of the summer, there was an agreement that he wanted a contract extension, but we didn't want to give him a contract extension due to his age. And it was open, but if he wanted a contract extension, he wanted an extension and a pay rise. And if it was open, the only way he was going to get that was if he went to a different club. It was then agreed that if any options would come along, we would listen to them. Nothing's happened. Not any offers that we've have agreed to. And then there's a rule within the Premier. Did you see that one? There's a rule within the Premier League that you cannot improve a player's contract financially while the season is open.
I didn't see that. I didn't know about that.
So it was agreed before United game that he would get the pay rise, and it's I think the whole thing is about. You see, Ethan and Miles have come in. They've got their contracts, well done, and they must be on around 80, 100 grand a week. And you've got Trossard, who's on half the money as Martinelli, has probably on about 80 grand a week. So as he's looking at these two youngsters, and they've deserved their pay rises, and it's a totally different situation. But we know dressing rooms and workplaces. If I had an 18-year-old come into my gaff and said, "Right, I'm on more money than you, and I haven't produced what you've done," there's questions are going to be asked. And I think that he's almost within his rights to ask those questions. And I think the thinking was, if there's not any offers on the table, a happy Trossard is better than a moody Trossard.
Yeah.
But you are effectively. I still think it's madness. I'm just trying to understand or talk myself into what the reasoning behind it is. You're effectively then saying you're not giving him any sale on value. He will walk off at at the end of his contract. And if you've agreed to that between yourselves, then fair enough. But that does then lead, there is an option with the Martinelli sale. And we've been so bad at selling. The Martinelli is probably the one with the more value.
Yeah,
I would take that. I would take 50, 60 million.
Mate, if that 80 mil is correct, yeah, we have to cash in on that.
You have to.
We have put a large outlay. Like you said, we're poor sellers. I think there is going to be a point in this PSR world where we get bitten if we don't start recouping decent money. Like I think there's Zinchenko there, Nelson, Lokonga's. Like we have to start shifting.
Because otherwise it'll end up being a Saka or a Saliba that you have, that they're the one with Gabby, that they're the ones with the big money value, So you've got to sell them when they're peak value, when they're at their peak value, and that's why I've had, mate. I can go back to days when we had Joe Willock, and I was having discussions with my mate saying, "We got to sell him. We got to sell him. He's at 30 million pounds. Sell him to Newcastle. Oh, but he's just scored 7 goals. He's just scored this one. When he was on loan there, bring him back. See, no, you're never going to get a better offer for Joe Willock than at that point. And I don't think if you play another season with a Martinelli, I don't think anyone's going to. Now, whether this actually is true, I mean, I think 80 million is an awful lot of money to be offered for Martinelli. But I'd absolutely snap your hand off for it.
The one thing I will say, I do think with an Eze and a potential Madueke there and a Trossard, I do think Martinelli will benefit from not being the sole option having to be relied on, because I do think he is a game state player that will do well in certain game states. But I think if it's opportunistic selling, right? Like you say, like you sometimes just have to cash in when someone's stock's high. But that moves us on to the next question, actually, and we make this the final one of the show. From Marsh, he did miss the start. And so while we did cover him slightly, it was more the vibes and the feelings around Eze. But Marsh is interested to hear our thoughts on how Eze actually slots in, what the midfield and the attack looks like, because he can't quite place him, but he has to play. So do you have any thoughts on that?
I've got absolutely no idea. I'm going, I'm leaving that to you, big man. I'm going Vibes FC. The boy has got to play somewhere. I don't care where, don't care when. You just got to get him in. That's Arteta's problem. And we did say it at the top, Marsh, that he is a very, very good player. And we are much better and a stronger squad with him. And we will work it out, I'm sure. But it is a very good question, because what does that mean to Rice? It does. It will at least give you the confidence to drop Odegaard for certain games, situations. Do you think?
I just think it's getting to a point where we just have to, like, we're a big club, just own it. Sometimes we're going to have an Eze on the bench. Sometimes we're going to have a Martinelli on the bench. Sometimes once or twice a season there may be a Odegaard on the bench. I think I'm someone that, as you know, like, I don't really care so much about positions. I'm very much about, like, what zone of the pitch can this guy operate in, and within that zone, what attributes do they bring? I see Eze out in wide areas sometimes, holding the width to draw people towards him, to vacate space for others to run into. I see him on the inside of the pitch, where he can drop a shoulder, go left, go right, create space, get a shot off, make that final action. I can see him being more of like a number 10, driving in central areas in transition games. I just think it's a case of, and I think that our manager's brilliant for this. I don't think he gets wedded to positions either. I think he's very much of the thought process of, give me the tools and the attributes of versatile players and good quality players, and I will make them gel. And, like, if we had to restrict it to positions, I can see him playing as a touchline left winger in certain games. I can see him playing as a wide playmaker that comes inside in certain games. I can see him playing as, like, the left-sided, right-sided 8-10 in certain games. In those games, I think we will sometimes see Zubimendi get a breather, Rice anchoring it as a Odegaard in front of him, someone like a Madueke, Martinelli on the left. I think it's just so many different options. And it's the thing that you would have missed, Marsh, at the start. Man City, for so many years, have just had these multitude of options and talents on the bench. And that's what we need. I think I'm just someone like, I just want to get to a point where we have as many talented players in the final third as possible without causing, like, any what's the word I'm looking for, like, disharmony. But I think I see him fitting. If that to be conventional, I think he'll play left wing for us, but I think the role will look different.
I think it's it'll be interesting to see his study, or keep an eye on his heat maps where he's dropping, because we look at what you say is Arteta looks for versatile, adaptable players. That it's more of a combo. It's pods. How does pods work? What strength can he bring there? Does he play with that player? Does he play with that player? if he can go inside, outside, who's playing here, who's playing there. Will Calafiori add his game by adding a little bit more chaos? It's chaos on that left-hand side if he plays there, which I do think he will. But I don't think he's obviously not playing the Martinelli role because we don't want him to play the Martinelli role. We want to do something different. We just want a very, very good option that can change the way that we play football and give us that little bit of spark that we need. So I think Arteta will work it out. As fans, it's exciting because we know in all of us in our heads, we can play an Arsenal move in our head. Who stands here? Who stands there? Who stands there? Who stands there? And if we're doing that, talking to each other on this YouTube channel, what are the analysts doing at the top clubs? They're working it out. So it's nice to have a player like Madueke and Eze that can offer us something different. That is the unknown, and that we will work it out. But it's just certain games, certain away games, certain home games. I mean, that's an exciting thought, don't you think? Is Eze debut at Anfield?
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll get to that one next week, for sure. But yeah, bloody hell! And I think one thing that just sprung to my mind, you mentioned the stat about Gyökeres, Saka, Eze, Madueke in terms of like their shots and their output last season. I think I saw within the Premier League last year,
we've got the top three.
We've got the 3 out of the top 5 direct combinations or something like that. So I can't wait. Bring it on.
One question: how many G's and A's do you think Eze brings us this season?
I'm useless with these questions. I never have like a accurate feel for what.
I think he done 34 last year.
It did 34.
I think, but yeah.
I do see 10 goals, 10 assists. Yeah.
That's mate. If he's slapping 20 on the table,
yeah.
Right,
with maybe
there you go. 15 from Madueke.
Yeah, we're going to score 247 goals.
Mate, put your money on it. It's going to be a 100 goal season.
I mean, I feel this is what I would like a game like Leeds to be one of them, where like even 3-0, I'm like, can we make that a 4? Like, yes. I want, that's the one thing, like we know our record in the big games. Yeah. Let's go and absolutely slap these lot at home in these sort of games now. Yeah. Lovely stuff. Uncle Mike, pleasure as always. Bit of a longer one for you guys, but obviously when your club is signing Eberechi Eze, you have to talk about it. For those that are watching back on demand, let us know in the comments where you think Eze will fit in. What do you think of the window so far? Do you think Martinelli's going to stay? Do you think he's going to go? And how are you feeling for Leeds? As always, a like for those watching live goes a long way. Even if you're watching back, a like goes a very long way. Subscribe to the channel. Help us on the road to 400. For those listening on audio, a 5-star review means a lot to us and helps us in terms of discoverability. First home game of the season. The vibes and the feel-good factor is going to be through the roof tomorrow. Let's hope the performance matches. Uncle Mike, pleasure as always. Up the Arsenal. Thanks, everyone.
Come on, you Reds.